to the Daily Bugle. You got Betty there. And then we got J. Jonah Jameson yelling, Parker! And and you're like, yep, same old, same old. And then Peter's like, hey, what's up? And Jameson's like, yeah, hey, Peter, no time for chit-chat. And then he yells, Parker again, just walking past Peter. And he's yelling at Ben Parker, managing editor. Because of course he is. Because why would Peter go to that wrestling match? Why would he go there? Like, he doesn't have the spider powers, so he won't go to the wrestling match. So Ben would never die. Hey guys, I need you to do me a favor. Help me fight the algorithm. Go ahead and hit like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon for new notifications. Thank you. Anyways, our next book. And this is a lot smaller because I just downloaded this off the internet because my picture wasn't great. But we're looking at Ultimate Spider-Man #1. New Ultimate series. I was kind of excited to see what this would be like. The Ultimate series was always kind of like an alternate universe takes on classic heroes. So I'm excited to see this comic book. Like, knew I was going to pick up a Spider-Man book. And literally, I was at the comic book store. I was about ready to pick up Miguel O'Hara #1. And the comic book store owner said, hey, if you're looking for any suggestions, that Ultimate Spider-Man #1, which was right next to it, was awesome. I'd recommend picking it up. And for me, that was enough. It's like, okay, he recommends this one. We're doing this one. So we picked up Ultimate Spider-Man #1. And we get this, and I want to stress, I haven't read any of this. Dane told me about some of it yesterday, but like when I started reading this, I knew nothing about any of the backstory here. So the backstory here is backstory to this universe, almost, really. 20 years ago, the Maker prevented a radioactive spider from biting a young Peter Parker. He likewise prevented the creation of any other superheroes and formed a secret council to rule the world from the shadows. When Tony Stark learned the dark history of his universe, he sought to undo it, prompting the Maker's Council to attack Manhattan, killing thousands and frame Stark for it. Peter Parker has lived his life unaware of the Maker's Council or the truth behind the spider, but that is about to change. And yeah, so written by Johnathan Hickman, artist Marco God, I'm terrible with name. Chihedi? I don't know. Although I do want to stress, I'm terrible with his name, but the artwork in this book is fantastic. So he does a fantastic job. So I don't want to be a slight against him that I'm really bad with his name, because he does a fantastic job in this book. But anyways, January, snowing. I know what that's like. Weather's been terrible. But yeah, Peter Parker sigh. He this is like an older Peter Parker. Like, I was reading this, I was like, God, I feel like I kind of identify with the Peter Parker here. He's got the facial hair going on. He's got glasses, I don't, so I guess that's different. But yeah, older Peter Parker. He's waking up. He's getting ready for work. He's got the 2 kids. He's got the wife, Mary Jane, of course. He's just living a fucking normal life. That's awesome. But yeah, he says hi to the kids. He says hi to Mary Jane. Then he's off to work, to the Daily Bugle. You got Betty there. And then we got J. Jonah Jameson yelling, Parker! And and you're like, yep, same old, same old. And then Peter's like, hey, what's up? And Jameson's like, yeah, hey, Peter, no time for chit-chat. And then he yells, Parker again, just walking past Peter. And he's yelling at Ben Parker, managing editor. Because of course he is. Because why would Peter go to that wrestling match? Why would he go there? Like, he doesn't have the spider powers, so he won't go to the wrestling match. So Ben would never die. So Ben's just a managing editor at the Daily Bugle now. Which, God, it never even occurred to me that Ben would be alive if it weren't for that spider. It's insane. But yeah, it turns out not only that, but he and Jameson are pretty solid with each other. They're pretty good friends, which makes Jameson a pretty good family friend to Peter Parker. So there's this kind of shooting the shit. They're talking about, apparently there's a meeting going on later. Yeah, so obviously not only is Uncle Ben alive, but like the relationship between Jameson and Peter and Ben is very much a live thing and a friendly thing, which is wild. But they do the chit chat thing. And Jameson even is like, "Hey Peter, where's your tie?" And like Peter's like, "I don't have a tie." Jameson's like, "Here, you can borrow my tie." And then he's even like, and Peter like, I'm gonna get that tie back. I'm not giving it to you. Fucking, because of course it's Jameson. But yeah, like he's tying it for him and shit. Like, I was actually it was probably like 5 years ago when I finally learned how to tie a tie. I know there's lots of people go through life and never learn how to tie a tie. But yeah, like Jameson's tying the tie for him. It's actually a sweet moment between them. It's wild. Anyways, it's really snowy. It's Peter and Ben walking through downtown. They're going to the memorial of what was it called? It was the memorial of the one attack. Oh, we didn't go back far enough. The Makers Council attacked Manhattan, killing thousands for it. I thought there was a more proper name for it, but yeah, they're going to the memorial of that attack, because Aunt May was in that attack. So she's gone, and yeah, no. So we're in a universe now where Uncle Ben is alive, but Aunt May is dead, which is sad. God, I'm saying that so it's sad. Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, so we got Father Murdoch here, in case you're wondering, doing the speech for them. Yeah, apparently, he didn't get his ability to become a superhero either. And then, yeah, so he's giving like a little speech. But anyways, he hands it over to Harry, and Harry's like, "Hey, my dad died in the attack. It's tragic. We just have to move on, learn to live." And then, after the memorial, we get a little bit. Ben is shaking hands with Harry briefly, and then Peter and Mary Jane are walking off. They're meeting up with the kids, and then and then Peter still has to go to work. So Mary and the kids are going off, and they're going to work, and then Jameson quits. Yay! Yeah, so Jameson quits, and Ben's like, "Hey, what? And he's telling Peter, "Keep your head down. I'm going to go to this meeting, see what's going on." And then, essentially, what's going on is apparently, the Daily Bugle has been investigating whether or not Tony Stark was actually involved with the attack on New York. And then, essentially, they've been questioning whether or not Tony Stark was involved, and they're being told by the new owners, no, don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. And you got Robbie here, and essentially they're being asked, "Is this cool if you?" Ben's asking, "Is this cool if you, Robbie?" And Robbie's like, "I'm a couple years out from maxing out my pension. I think I'm just going to ride it out right now. I hate it, but it is what it is. I need to do the best for my family." And then Ben is like, "Well, fuck it. I don't like this. Who are these new owners?" And of course, it's fucking Wilson Fisk. Fuck. And then so Ben Parker quits the Bugle, and that's it. So he and Jameson leave on the elevator. And then, anyway, so we get Wilson Fisk going out to his car later, and then his car gets blown up by what appears to be the Green Goblin. Good fun. But anyways, at the bar with no name, which, God, that exists in multiple universes at this point, we get, essentially, Jameson and Ben are talking about how they just left the Bugle, and they're like, maybe we just do our own newspaper. It'll be awesome. And then eventually, Peter joins them, and it's like, "Hey, Peter, you want a job?" And Peter's like, "Do you have any money?" And they're like, that's a day two problem. And then essentially Ben's telling him, dude, you don't have to come work for us. We'd love it if you did, but like we understand you have a family to look after, Peter. But they're having this conversation, and Peter's he's just not sure of his place in the world. He feels like he's just like kind of living his life through like Ben and stuff like that, and he just doesn't know about his place. But later we get Peter, he says goodnight to his kids. He says he talks with Mary Jane for a little bit about, it's a lot of the same issues. He needs a change. He wants something different. He just doesn't like what's going on with his life. And then, she's like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry, Tiger. He's obviously happy to hear that. But anyways, he has this orb in his bag. And I was reading this going, well, what the fuck's this orb thing? And then the night before, he's in his room. This thing activates in his room. It says Peter Parker, and it's fucking Iron Man, a really young Iron Man. And he's saying, hey, this is I'm Tony Stark. Essentially, you were supposed to be a great superhero in this universe, but somebody stopped the spider from biting you. And now you are not the superhero you were supposed to be. But now I am giving you this opportunity. And then he presents this orb to him. He says, this is your opportunity to be the hero if you choose to take it. And then now we cut to now. And he's got the orb, and then it falls away. And then we see inside it is this vial with a spider in it. And he decides, okay. So he puts the spider on the palm of his hand. And then next shot, we got him looking like Spider-Man. And with the end thing being the beginning. So that was the introduction to this Ultimate Spider-Man, a very different take of Spider-Man. What I love is that this is like an almost no action comic book. No action. There's that brief Green Lantern thing, but that's about it. And what I love is how engaging and awesome this book was without that. We get like one panel of Spider-Man in this whole goddamn book. And I kind of love the setup. I love that this is an older Spider-Man with kids. He's married with kids. I like that this Ultimate Universe take is like drastically different. And it's also like something Dane brought up yesterday. This is Peter Parker that has chosen to be Spider-Man. This isn't, it wasn't forced upon him. It wasn't an accident. He took the spider out and put it on his hand. And he became Spider-Man that way. I cannot praise this comic book enough. This was, I think overall there have been some really solid books as I've dove back into comic books. And I'll be blunt, this was my favorite. This was my first 5-star review. Fucking great book. If you have a chance to check it out, Ultimate Spider-Man #1. What a great take on Spider-Man. A unique take. What the Ultimate Universe did before was essentially, when it first started, I remember, it was like, we're going to kind of reboot these superheroes, but we're going to kind of do the same thing, but it's going to be a more modern, edgy take. And that's kind of what the Ultimate Universe was before. And it seems like now what they're doing with the Ultimate Universe is just what they should have done. Alternate takes. So now we get older Peter Parker. The family man Peter Parker. Not teenager, not awkward teenager trying to talk to women Peter Parker. We're getting the I'm already settled in my life Peter Parker deciding to take a chance and let the spider bite him and have the choice to do that. And we'll see what evolves from this. But this was a fantastic book. I loved it. 5 stars. Fucking great book. Wonderful. I can't praise it enough. Check it out.
Strong focus on what I want.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Oh, and real quick, Hedgehog Nerd, I saw you mention something. Real quick. So anyways, last time I went to the comic book store, I brought the kids, I let them pick out some stuff, and this is what my son picked out. Sonic the Hedgehog. The Amy's 30th anniversary, and then, Sonic the Hedgehog Endless Summer. That is what my son picked out, so... you are not alone in your Sonic the Hedgehog fandom. I have not read those. Those are my son's, but yeah, he loves Sonic the Hedgehog.